America isn't special enough for God to judge us, right? I want to be very clear when I say this. What we're seeing occur in this country is the result of what has been allowed to happen in this country for centuries. Racism is a tenet foundation of America. Greed is a tenet foundation of America. This idea that, oh, we were never evil, we were never wrong, we were never this, that, and the third. You can't say that you were founded on biblical principles when you had to amend the Bible in order to get away with it. We could also say that America was founded on terrible principles because of the amendments. It was made for white men and white men with money. And every year since then, those same elites or those same people in that same economic class have been doing everything they can to solidify their position while also solidifying you as the working class. Think of the caste system that you learned about in social studies in 5th grade. You got the lords and you have the serfs, and that's what they're trying to reinforce again. So ultimately, what we're seeing occur in the world with COVID, with hantavirus, with all of that, none of that is a quote unquote judgment from God. That is the consequences of our greed, consequences of our actions. What did you think was going to happen to the sicknesses that we have when you're not looking to cure a disease? You're not looking to cure anything. You're only looking to prolong the life of the person suffering with. What did you think was going to happen when you allow foreign powers to be able to pay your politicians to create laws and government? What did you think was going to happen when having money makes you untouchable by the law that has been written? This isn't God's judgment. This is the consequences of the actions of the people who founded and have been running this country since its inception. What God did in Egypt was him reaching out his hand and actively making something happen, right? What we're seeing now is the further perversion of what has already been corrupted by us. Sickness and disease, cancers, all those things come because we're letting people dump stuff in our water, dump stuff on our land, dump stuff in the air, and that is getting in our bodies, causing all these different ailments. And then if you think radiation is only affecting us and not affecting these viruses to mutate, you're out of your mind. We've effectively pushed God aside everywhere and used him as a banner only when it serves us. And we honor him with our lips while our hearts are far from him. So if we want things to be different in this country, if you really want God to actually make a change and actually use his hand to do something, the Bible has clear instructions for that. 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins and heal their land. God is waiting on us to humble ourselves and pray and turn from our wickedness. God is waiting for us to rectify the stupidity that we have put in place and purge all of the evil that we've allowed to go on for so long. And no, I don't mean purge as in let's go in and start killing everybody. It's a posture of the heart that needs to change within government, within local, within media, within every aspect of American culture. It needs to change. And in order for that to happen, people need to humble themselves and actually turn to the Creator. As far as what believers who are already saved need to do, we need to start being more active in participating in the American system to remove people who are using God as some kind of cover to go in and do evil things. More of us who are actually saved need to be participant in government. More of us who are actually saved need to be participant in local and federal government, as well as other positions of power. We need to take a hold of what God has already given us in salvation, in our understanding, and apply that for the betterment of the people who walk in this earth. But America is not special enough for us to be getting judged. The rest of the world is going through the same thing. It's just that we can't see it.
Nothing is going back to normal. I need us as Americans to fully grasp that nothing is going to go back to normal or be the same after this. Some things are irreversible. A lot of Americans have this mindset that once Trump is over, things are going to reverse, and that isn't true. If Trump gets us into a global recession, if not a global depression, you're not going to fix that in a matter of 4 years. It's going to take possibly a decade. Do people forget that the Great Depression lasted for 12 years, from the stock market crash of 1929 until the start of World War II? That's 12 years. Are people aware that when the oil embargo of the 70s happened, it wasn't until the 80s that things got back on track? So if we're going to have an economic downturn, a severe economic downturn, especially with the petrodollar declining, it is going to take years, if not over a decade, for things to get fixed or corrected, if ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is Trevor Commentaries, and if you're new here, remember to hit that subscription button, like the video, and also share. So guys, have we been told the full truth about America's history, or is the country simply experiencing the consequences of our decisions made long ago? This is a question that sparks intense debate, and today's video presents one perspective on why the United States is facing so many challenges. In today's reaction, we are looking at a video that argues America's biggest problems are not just about one president, one political party, or one election. Instead, it claims the country's struggles are deeply rooted in historical foundation and the system that have shaped it over generations. So guys, let us continue watching, then I'll be back with more comments. Please remember to subscribe to the channel.
There's no way to escape the consequences. Okay, I didn't do this to you. Your ancestors did this to you. Your own ancestors did this to you. Your ancestors and your leaders today, your media today, your schools today. Like I said, recognizing and acknowledging the reality of what your ancestors really did and what they really were, and yes, who they really worshiped, understanding that is just the first layer. And as soon as someone accepts this reality, that layer, they just accept that, then they'll jump immediately to, well, how do we make a change? I'm not like my ancestors. Isn't that good enough? How do we make a change so that we can avoid these negative consequences? Because they haven't accepted that second layer, that most important second layer, which is that the consequences cannot be avoided, cannot be evaded, cannot be resisted, and cannot be defied. The punishment is already underway in America. And like I said, at least one element of that punishment is madness. This is the toll of your history. That's what this is. This is the devil taking his due. Don't you know your own folklore? Don't you know about the devil taking payment in the form of your progeny? Those stories don't come out of nowhere. It's the story of your so-called civilization. Your ancestors sold you out for the sake of pomp and splendor in their day. They sold you out so they could sip their mint julep tea on the veranda of some great plantation house in the American South, while human beings were being whipped and being raped and being treated like animals. They sold you out so that they could have their steal their land and have their homesteads and their farms and their ranches soaked in the blood of Native Americans. They sold you out so that they could have the minerals and the oil and the gas and the gold and the diamonds from all around the world, from all around the global South, when colonized people were the ones digging those resources out of the earth for them, and then they themselves got buried in those same holes. That was the bargain. That was the deal that your ancestors made. You know, everyone thinks, or everyone says, that America was built on stolen land by stolen labor. Yes, but I'm telling you that there's no such thing as stolen land. There's no such thing as stolen labor. There's only borrowed land. There's borrowed labor, and eventually you're going to have to pay for it. And your payment is coming due. There's no fix. Because when you think about trying to fix things, what you really mean is trying to figure out how to put off the inevitable consequences, and that's not going to happen. You can forget about that. You can't vote your way out. You can't policy your way out. You can't march or protest your way out. You can't virtue signal your way out. You can't even reparations your way out. The bill is due, and payment will be taken, one way or another. And as I say, payment is already being taken, right now. I'm telling you, the fate of America is sealed. And it was sealed over 400 years ago. You're just now reaching the end of that contract. You know, I said some time ago that Trump was actually hated in America and Europe during his first administration, everyone knows. But he was actually popular in the global South. Around the rest of the world, people liked Trump. Arabs liked him, Asians, Africans, South Americans generally. Generally speaking, he was actually popular with the countries in the global South. Even China likes him, despite the performative rivalry. And I'll tell you why. Because we all recognize that he is the embodiment of the devil's due. Trump being appointed over the United States signaled to the rest of us the end of American empire. Now don't blame him for that. Like I said, it isn't happening because of Trump. Trump just proves that it's happening.
Guys, we're the problem. throughout history. It's us. We've just been brainwashed to think we're the good guys, but we're not. Who invades all the other countries? Who steals other people's lands? And no, I don't have self-loathing or collective guilt. It's just a realization that we've been brainwashed and the world's slowly waking up.
It is your mistreatment at the hands of white people that has caused God to send down his judgment on America. Now you, in your silliness, are so forgiving. White folk ain't even asked for forgiveness. I want you to hear me. White folk haven't even acknowledged that they did you wrong. They have not repented for what they did to your fathers and what they're doing to you and what they plan against your future. But God knows their thoughts, their plans, and because he knew them before they came into existence, he planned their destruction before they were born.
America is going to collapse, and it might not be today, but we definitely don't have 50 more years. It doesn't matter if Trump leaves office today. It doesn't matter what politician gets into office, because you can't put a Band-Aid on what was built broken. Putting a different politician in office is only delaying the inevitable. There are foundational flaws built with inside the system. And no one wants to admit it, but most of it has to do with institutional racism and slavery. We built our entire economy off of free and cheap labor. How long did they think that that was going to last? I mean, realistically, we have another 10 years max. If it wasn't for the pandemic, this could have went on maybe another 50 years. But because the pandemic put a strain on such an already flawed economy, it has put us back at least 20 years. It has taken 20 plus years off the American life system. It no longer can live. I mean, literally, there's nothing that can be saved. Nothing. Agriculture is going to die. I mean, look at what's happening with Nevada. The reason that Nevada's economy is going bankrupt is because it literally operated off of cheap Hispanic labor. Without cheap labor, they literally cannot have an economy. They cannot afford to pay white people to work because they know white people are going to demand a livable wage. Y'all can say whatever, but the entire system runs on defrauding people. I mean, just think about the prison industrial system. Another form of cheap slave labor. It's the reason why black people get arrested and convicted at higher rates than white people, because they need a class of people to abuse in order to keep the economy going. Our economy is systematically flawed. We are screwed no matter how many Band-Aids we put on it. There is no way that the economy won't eventually fail. So who cares if Trump is moving it forward? Because the slow burn is going to be a lot rougher than the immediate drop.
I hate to be the guy to break the news to you, but there's no coming back from this. There's no coming back from this. We are at the point of no return. When the President of the United States sues his own government and has his own personal lawyer as the Attorney General, who then awards him $1.8 billion to pay for insurrectionist traitors on January 6th, to pay for their legal fees, there's no coming back. We are absolutely cooked. Stick a fork in us. We are done. Because 30 some odd % of this country, maybe more, still love this man, would die for this man. And he just took $1.8 billion. There is no law, there is no statute, there is no standard, there is no procedure, there is no protocol, there is no court, there is no filing, there is no anything that is going to stop this. This is so blatant, so blatant. It is in your face every single day. This may be one of the worst, most blatant things he has possibly done in front of the American people as President of the United States. We're done. We're cooked.
Life in America literally feels like serving a death sentence.
There's a reason that America feels cursed. From its beginning to its present, This so-called Christian nation has been drenched in blood, greed, and spiritual filth. What we're seeing today, the chaos, division, addiction, violence, it isn't random. It's divine consequence. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, corruption has appeared on land and sea because of what the hands of men have earned, so that he may let them taste part of what they have done, that perhaps they will return. Quran chapter 30 verse 41. America wasn't founded on freedom. It was founded on genocide and hypocrisy. Millions of Native Americans exterminated, their land stolen, their children kidnapped into Christian schools, where they were beaten, raped, and stripped of identity. The same people quoting the Bible used it to justify mass murder. Before the US even called itself a nation, it was burning women alive during the Salem witch trials, projecting its own evil onto others. They screamed about witches while committing acts far darker than any spell. They seek to extinguish the light of Allah with their mouths, but Allah will perfect his light. Quran, chapter 61, verse 8. What they call purity was actually paranoia, fear, and hatred, the very foundation of their empire. Then came Mormonism, born into the same soil, mixing Christianity with paganism, polygamy, and blood atonement. These were not fringe movements. They shaped US politics and culture, from manifest destiny to God bless America. The nation began to believe it was chosen by God to dominate others. That's not faith, that's arrogance. The Prophet Muhammad warned, arrogance is rejecting the truth and looking down on people. Sahih Muslim 91. And what's more arrogant than a nation claiming God gave it the right to rule the earth, just like Israel is doing right now, and its people, the chosen ones, the very same people running America. Just look at the culture. The United States produces more serial killers than any other country in history. Over 3,000 known cases. Hollywood glorifies cannibals, serial killers, and demonic acts. It celebrates sin as freedom. Even Netflix has turned human depravity into entertainment. This isn't coincidence. This is a mirror, a reflection of the nation's inner sickness. Then the hearts of those who disbelieve became hardened after that, like stones or even harder. Quran, chapter 2, verse 74. The same obsession with horror, violence, and death runs through its politics, its movies, and its streets. When a nation normalizes evil, Allah removes mercy from its heart. The American empire didn't stop at home. It expanded, invading, occupying, and toppling over 80 countries, from Vietnam to Iraq, from Iran to Libya. Millions of lives lost in the name of freedom. Their military doesn't defend, it dominates. They maintain over 750 military bases all across the world, controlling oil, currency, and governments through blood, and do not commit abuse on the earth, spreading corruption. Quran, chapter 2, verse 60. And yet they call Muslims terrorists. The biggest terror organization on earth wears a suit and waves a flag. Islam forbids everything America profits from: interest, pornography, gambling, intoxication, exploitation, and oppression. So they attack it. They bomb Muslim lands, invade other nations, steal resources, and brainwash their citizens to fear Islam. They demonize hijabs, but glorify nudity. They ridicule prayer, but worship money. They want to deceive Allah and those who believe, but they deceive none except themselves, yet they perceive it not. Quran, chapter 2, verse 9. America doesn't hate Islam because it's violent. It hates Islam because it's pure, because it exposes the filth that they live in. Behind the American flag lies another flag, the Zionist one. For decades, Zionist lobby groups like AIPAC have dictated US foreign policy. Presidents come and go, but the alliance to Israel never changes. Billions of dollars are sent yearly while American cities decay, poverty rises, and children die from fentanyl. You see, many of them taking the disbelievers as allies. Evil indeed is that which they have sent ahead for themselves. Quran, chapter 5, verse 80. The same elite networks, banks, media, Hollywood, and tech promote degeneracy, destroying faith, and manipulate minds. Their goal, to make humanity forget God so they can play God. Have you noticed America's obsession with monsters, vampires, demons, and the apocalypse? It's not entertainment, it's confession. Its myths mirror its crimes, from witch hunts to cannibals to mass shooters. America creates monsters because it is one. It projects its own darkness onto screens so people never see it in the mirror. And thus we made the oppressors allies of one another because of what they used to earn. Quran chapter 6 verse 129. Just look at America now. Divided, decaying, drowning in drugs, shootings, suicides and debt. Its people no longer know right from wrong. They mutilate children, glorify sin and call it progress. Its youth reject God. Its leaders worship wealth and its military serves Zionist greed. When we intend to destroy a town, we command its affluent ones, but they definitely disobey therein, so the world comes into effect upon it, and we destroy it with complete destruction. Quran, chapter 17, verse 16. That is what's happening right now. America is being destroyed, not by enemies abroad, but by the rot from within. The United States calls others terrorists, but it has terrorized the planet. It preaches morality while funding genocide. It claims to defend freedom while silencing truth. It builds idols of liberty while worshipping satanic systems. And every empire built on blood ends the same way. Rome, Babylon, Pharaoh, and now Washington. Do not think Allah is unaware of what the wrongdoers do. He only delays them for a day when eyes will stare in horror. Quran, chapter 14, verse 42. America's downfall is not political, it's spiritual. The curse it unleashed upon others has come home. You cannot mock God, slaughter nations, and poison the earth without consequence. The land cries out, the blood speaks, and justice is coming, whether through history or through divine wrath. And perhaps then the world will see that Islam was never the enemy. It was the truth they feared all along. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings be upon you and your families.
Well, you know I'm gonna say it. Yeah, you're being negative. Because you're living the American dream that does not exist. I don't know what you need to believe anymore. It does not exist.
Okay, welcome back. One of the main arguments is that the idea of the American dream has been oversold. According to the video, America's wealth and power were built through slavery, colonial expansion, and exploitation of labor, and the country is now experiencing the long-term consequences of those actions. Whether people agree or disagree, it's a perspective that has become part of many discussions about American history. The video also points to rising living costs, economic inequality, political divisions, drug addictions, and homelessness as sign of a system that isn't working for everyone. It argues these aren't isolated problems but connected symptoms of deeper structural issues. Another major point is that replacing political leaders alone won't solve these challenges. The speaker believes the problems are larger than any single administration and suggests that meaningful change would require addressing the underlying system that shape the economy, politics, and society. The discussion also introduces a spiritual perspective, suggesting that nations, like individuals, can face consequences for injustice. It argues that the instability seen today reflects a broader moral and spiritual reckoning rather than that the simply political or economic failure. This raises an interesting question. Can a country truly move forward without confronting difficult parts of its history? Some people believe acknowledging past injustices is essential for progress, while others argue the focus should be on present-day solutions. Both viewpoints continue to shape public debate. The video ultimately concludes that the United States has reached a critical moment where continuing with the same system may no longer be suitable. It calls for humility, accountability, and significant structural reforms instead of relying solemnly on political change. Whether you agree with these arguments or not, they highlight issues that continue to influence conversations across America. History, economics, politics, and social justice remain deeply connected, and different people interpret today's challenges in different ways. What do you think? Are America's current struggles mainly the results of historical systems, modern leadership, or combination of both? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's have a respectful discussions. Bye for now. See you in the next video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel.